Hey, everybody. Welcome back to our Paradise Falls. I'm Jeff,
I'm Brittany.
and we are here to review and discuss this week's latest episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The whole world is watching. But before we get started, we want to introduce our two special guests tonight. We have April from Disney Moms of Two, and we have Morgan from Teaching Disney.
Hi, guys.
And April, we'll get started with you. Could you tell us a little bit about your channel and what new things you have coming up?
Hi guys, I'm April from Disney Mom of Two. My channel is Disney, Harry Potter, and all things fandom. I do unboxings and reviews and whatever else I feel like. But coming up, I have a Bippity Boppity Box unboxing and another comic haul.
Yes, if you guys haven't seen it already, her last comic haul was awesome. So we definitely recommend you checking that out. And I can't wait for the new one. Morgan, could you tell us a little bit about your channel and what do you have coming up?
That's a good question. What do I have coming up? So my channel, I do a lot of unboxings and Disney content. I also do some teaching content. As far as coming up, I'm doing a Loungefly live on your guys' channel tomorrow.
Wait, we're doing a Loungefly live?
You're not. So sorry.
Why wasn't I invited?
Girls only.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
then I have some hauls coming up, and that's pretty much my life.
Well, that's very cool. So we're definitely looking forward to that. Actually, before something was been bothering me this week, before we jump into the review and discussion tonight of the episode, actually, April pointed this out to us last week that the actor Wyatt Russell was actually receiving death threats about his portrayal of the character in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So I just wanted to throw out there and say, look, guys, hate the character, don't hate the actor. I mean, he's doing actually a phenomenal job with this role. And it used to be that way with some of the actors and actresses on Game of Thrones as well. It's one thing to be a huge fan, but let's stop taking the fandoms to an extreme here with, death threatening people's lives and everything. So there's no reason for that. So, again, hate the character, don't hate the person or the actor. Agreed?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Want to get started with us with the episode tonight?
Sure. All right, guys. So here we go. We are starting off in the very beginning of the episode, and we are actually 6 years behind with the White Wolf in Wakanda.
Jon Snow?
No, not Jon Snow. No Game of Thrones, my friend. We have a very different looking Bucky Barnes. Long hair, very scruffy. Quite attractive, if I have to say so myself. My favorite Bucky. And it was very, I would say, a little emotional. How do you portray it? I mean,
yeah, I think just obviously dealing with this whole season with Bucky just living with the torment of his actions as the Winter Soldier. When she is repeating the login codes or the words that actually activate him as being a Winter Soldier, and he's like, it's not going to work. He's getting really emotional behind it. And after she says that last word to where he doesn't become brainwashed by his Winter Soldier programming is like a huge sigh of relief for him. And it's very emotional. Morgan, we'll start with you. What did you think of that scene?
So that scene, I was a little confused as to why they were doing it. I didn't know if they were trying to I don't know what they did to kind of snap him out of it. If they just constantly do those words and try to get him out of it, or what was going on. So I was a little confused and wish they had explained that a little bit more. Did they do something with his brain and rewire it? Did they reprogram him to not respond to those words anymore? But I did think it was a little emotional just seeing him go through that past trauma. I felt really bad for him. And I think it also was really good because it kind of refreshed your memory on this is everything that he's been through.
What did you think of that scene, April?
I agree. It was a really emotional scene. Just to see Bucky having to relive all of his memories that he made that he didn't have control over.
So I think because at the end of Civil War, that's where T'Challa, brings Steve and Bucky to Wakanda, and they actually put him on ice again. I don't think they actually really show you how they're able to get the Winter Soldier programming out of him. I think, honestly, just it kind of really depends on your imagination. Obviously, Wakanda is a much more highly advanced, civilized society. So with their tech, I'm assuming they were probably somehow able to get that programming or that predictive programming out of him. So I don't think they've actually ever been shown. I'm pretty sure it was shown in the comics, but as far as in the MCU, I don't think it was ever shown.
No, it wasn't.
I always assumed it had something to do with the new vibranium arm instead of his old.
I was going to say, I'm wondering if it had something to do with the arm, with the programming. I mean, that's kind of the middle of the episode about, the arm.
Wouldn't you think if they took his arm off, that all that programming would come back?
It was not.
Well, he still got the base. He still got the base of it.
I mean, it wasn't gone that long either.
Right.
So.
It could be. But
I just assumed. That's what I assumed.
There's really not a wrong answer.
No.
It's all just speculation. Oh, and did you... Oh, okay, so in the beginning of the episode, when they're speaking about when the Dora Milaje captain is speaking to Bucky, did you guys catch the Shuri name drop?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I like that. I turned around and said, Shuri! I'm like, yes! It still makes me think if Chadwick Boseman was going to have some role to play in this episode or in this season, rest in peace if he was still alive. It really makes me think if he was actually going to be. It kind of makes it seem like he was really like fit for that role.
Yeah,
but that's just me. Okay, so moving forward, so I wouldn't say slow, but it was a very a lot of character development. I personally think in pretty much the first half, or I would say the first good 3/4 of this whole episode. So a lot of like philosophical stuff, a lot of like different perspective on like outlooks and way of life and everything like that. So in the next scene, we have Zemo talking to Sam as far as what it means, I guess, to be a good super soldier and how the super soldier serum corrupts everybody and how everyone pretty much becomes psychotic off of it. And he's like, and Sam's, obviously replies, well, there was Steve. And Zemo's like, there's only ever been one Steve Rogers, meaning that no one who has ever taken that super soldier serum has ever been able to live up to the title of Steve. So April, what did you think of that scene and how did you interpret it in your way?
Well, they kind of talk about it a lot throughout the episode. Even John Walker makes a point of everyone that's taken it usually becomes bad, but power does something to you. And there's only ever been one successful attempt with Steve. And even John says there's, you get the Carlys and you get the Steve Rogers. So I don't know. It was interesting to see, but it was a lot. I felt like it was kind of a little repetitive.
I kind of feel the same. However, I think Carly wants to be like Steve Rogers. I think she just has some bad intentions, I guess. I think she's got a lot of built up anger. Yeah. And she has not more of a backstory, but she has a little bit more trial and tribulation than Steve did, besides the war.
Yeah. I feel like everyone wants to be Steve, and then they all don't.
Right.
What did you think of that scene, Morgan? So I got you at the wrong. I'm like, as soon as I said that, I'm like, whoops.
So I really like that scene. However, I felt that it was a little unfair to Bucky to say that because he never got a chance to try to be as good as Steve. He never got the chance to kind of use his super soldier serum for good until he was used for bad. So to say that there was only ever one Steve, like, yes, there's only ever one Steve, but we also have to remember, and this kind of comes up later in this episode where when Zemo's like, oh, we need to kill them all the super soldiers. And then Sam says, but what about Bucky?
Yeah, that was sad.
Bucky was forced to do bad things. He doesn't want to do bad things, and he doesn't continue to do bad things. So I think I just feel so bad for him.
That was really sad.
That's actually a great point. I really didn't even think of that. But yes, I mean, technically Bucky was brainwashed into becoming the Winter Soldier, so he never technically had a choice. You know, he never had to choose between right and wrong, fortunately, until the Wakandans were able to obviously cure him. Hopefully, it still stays that way. But yeah, I think Sam sees a lot of himself in Carly and thinks he's able to reach her. And absolutely, I think she's more, instead of being a true villain, she's definitely more of a anti-hero. You know, she wants to do the right thing. She's just definitely going about the wrong way of doing it. But to her point as well, Sam's also trying to do the right thing. But I think Sam has more of a code and more of responsibilities. He hasn't been able to kind of like let loose yet and do things his own way. He still has like, there's rules that he follows, and he still hasn't broken away yet from following those rules and regulations of being obviously like a soldier. As we'll see more later in the episode, I believe eventually he is going to start breaking away from, even though he has never been programmed, but breaking away from that programming and doing things, you know, off the book or off the record.
So you think he's going to fight with Carly?
Fight with her? No.
No.
No. I think if they were going to fight, I think if they were going to tease that, unless it comes down to where there's a choice that he has to make, and he feels in his mind that he's making the right decision. But no, I don't think they're going to like really fight each other across paths like that.
I disagree, but that's okay.
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I think they will, because I think after what happens towards the end of the episode, which I don't want to spoil it because we're not there yet, but towards the end of the episode, what happens, if you remember the phone call she had with his sister, I think that because he goes to try to help, what's his name? I can't even remember his name because he's so unmemorable. But when he goes to help, what?
Lamar.
No, the new Cap.
Oh, John Walker.
John Walker. That I can never remember his name. When he goes to help John Walker, she says like, basically, if you don't join me or like stay out of my way, your sister's gonna get it. Like, so I think she's gonna start heading toward his sister, and that's why his sister was originally put in the beginning of the episode.
See, I took that as like a different perspective. I think because even when she's threatening her, you could tell she doesn't want to do that.
She doesn't want. I agree.
I think she's just trying to get her point across to him, and the only way you're really going to do that to a person like Sam is by attacking his family. Because she even tells him, she's like, "I have no interest of hurting your family
or you.
I want you to join us, or I want us to work together." And I think it's this. After seeing what happens at the end, and they both see it, witness it together, even though they're not together, but they're both in the same area, I think that actually might pull them together and be stronger together as maybe a team, because they're both going to realize we definitely don't want to be like this person here. So you want to get into the scene with Zemo and going to the Flag Smashers hideout and
children.
Yeah.
So this scene,
what was it? The Turkish delight.
Zemo is like my favorite character. Can I just say, like, he is like my favorite villain right now. I love him. He's so cool.
There was a great meme the other day about like it was something along the lines of John Walker being like the new Captain America and Zemo being the villain, and more people hate the hero more than they should hate the villain right now. Yes. But yeah, he is perfect. I really hope that they continue on with his character after the show, because MCU does have a track record sometimes of really great villains killing them off, and then I really hope that doesn't happen to him. But
so let's go into the Turkish delight.
Delight, yeah.
So the three of them, they walk into the Flag Smashers, hideout, and at one point, Zemo actually said, I remember when this was the upscale area where we used to have upscale dinners, and it was kind of like nightlife, kind of like New York City. Like it was the city, it was the place to go to hang out. And now it's nothing like that anymore.
It's pretty much a refugee camp.
They don't call it a refugee camp. The teacher corrects him.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Displacement camp.
So the children actually, they start to back away when they start to come in because they're outsiders. They specifically said, we don't like outsiders. And they start to back away, but the Zemo starts singing Baba Black Sheep. And the children kind of, go towards
you knew that song?
him. Baba Black Sheep? How do you not know
How do you not
Black
know that
Sheep?
song?
Come on, you're a dad and you don't know Baba Black Sheep?
Anymore.
Except he changes the words and says he puts a girl in it instead of a boy, right?
No, there's a girl in it.
Yeah, the original song has a girl.
I don't know.
So
Anyways,
did he put a boy in it because he has a son?
I don't know. He put a girl in it.
Oh, he did?
So
yeah, sorry,
anyways,
I don't know what that song is.
Go away. So anyways, but then the children goes towards him when he takes out the little bag, and I'm thinking this is just kind of a little creepy, to be honest. I mean, he's going towards the children, and Sam and Bucky are just watching him like, do something. Like, what is this dude gonna do? This is gonna sound so bad. It kind of reminded me of like pedophiliac. Like, I was like, ew, this old man's going towards these children. Like, what is going on here?
But you have to remember, because Brittany even turned to me and goes, he has a son. And I'm like, well, he had a son. And she had forgotten what the real reasoning why he goes after the Avengers is, because obviously his family died in Sokovia, and that's the whole reason why he went crazy.
Right.
And he even says that he's like, I can't kill them, but if I can get them to fight each other, I can get them to kill each other that way. But so
he takes out the candies and the Turkish delights, and they're irresistible. And he puts them on the table, and the one girl with the pretty blonde hair, she grabs one real quick and backs up real quick, and he starts going on about Carly's caretaker. I can't remember her name at this point in time. Sorry. But where was her funeral going to be? And he finds out the information, and then he then tells the little girl in, I'm guessing, Sokovian? I don't know the language, or Turkish maybe, about don't trust these guys, they're bad. So it's kind of like he's playing both sides. Like, yes, he's helping them, but at the same time, he's like,
we still don't know what his ulterior motive is. We still have no idea what he's planning. Obviously, he wants to rid the world of super soldiers, which we'll see later on here in a little bit in the episode. But we still really don't know what his ultimate goal is.
Right.
How I took that scene is just it's very different how everybody in the world views like different cultures and different races and things of that sort. So obviously these children see these people who they probably have maybe seen on TV, or obviously because they're Avengers, and they are back away because of how intimidated they are by their presence. Like Sam goes up and he speaks to the teacher about, being refugees, and how the teacher fires back at him. And Sam's like, well, let me make a call. But it was kind of the same situation with his sister. Like, oh, we'll fight the bank. We'll do this. And it's just like, you can't help us. You think you have this power, but you can't help us. But a person like Zemo, who's a criminal and who's, a murderer, and they welcome him with open arms because they, he represents something different, or maybe like belonging to them, compared to like what Sam and Bucky, how those people perceive them. What did you think, Morgan?
So I think I didn't see it like that. I did not think he was creepy for doing it. I thought the song was a little creepy. And I was like, what's going on here? But I kind of saw what he was doing. He was trying to like befriend them and like give them something that they're used to, rather than just coming up and asking questions. Because
befriend them with candy. With candy.
Yeah. Right. But I don't know. I just thought it was like more of, he was playing more of a detective role than I think Sam or Bucky were. Because I think Sam and Bucky are very used to just throwing around their Avengers card and getting whatever they wanted. And they're starting to see like, hey, it doesn't happen everywhere. Like, you can't just throw it around and get whatever you want. And I think that's a really big shock for them ever since they've become heroes, that, oh, hey, I can't just say, I need this, take it and get whatever I want and get out of whatever I want. You have to go about other ways, like a true detective or hero would, because in this sense, they're kind of playing detective, trying to figure out, trying to find this girl. So I thought that was really clever of him to do. But I did think he wasn't going to tell them where it was. I thought he was going to somehow sneak away and leave them. And I'm very interested to see what his ultimate goal is. Like, what is he trying to really do? And how is he going to stab them in the back? Because I know it's going to happen.
What did you think about that scene, April?
I definitely see both sides. At first, I definitely was like, okay, this is creepy. Like, you're not supposed to take candy from a stranger. And that's literally what's happening here. But but his tactic worked. And I think a lot of it was with the way he worded it. Because he said, my friend, whatever her name is, Danya, whatever, recently passed. And I'd like to go to her funeral. It wasn't like, let me know where it's at right now. Like, Sam and Bucky. Yeah. But what Morgan said, I really do think that, especially Sam, I don't feel it as much with Bucky, but with Sam was like, hey, I'm the Falcon. You got to give me information. But it didn't work. Zemo's approach worked, although it was creepy.
So we were going to talk about the Sharon Carter stuff, but I'm going to wait on that. I want to wait to theorize on that, and I'm going to throw out a theory, and it's going to totally contradict how I was saying of who a certain person is. So we're going to wait to the end for that. So moving along to the Carly scene in the cemetery. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, or how you saw that?
Well, we were introduced to a semi-new character. It seemed like a boyfriend. At least I kind of viewed it like as a relationship, but they grew up together in the same refugee camp.
I know they're not refugees.
They grew up in the same camp, and they were talking about the serum and
his grandfather. How his grandfather was a World War II resistance fighter.
So go ahead.
Okay, so his grandfather was a World War II resistance fighter. They're actually keeping the additional super soldier serums. So I was wrong about that prediction about the drug or the medicine that they were smuggling. It was really medicine and not super soldier serum. So I was wrong about that. But they have the extra containers of super soldier serum in like this tombstone. And they're pretty much explaining like the ideology of what a new Captain America should be. And Carly's pretty much saying, I honestly, though, off topic, I think this is the best episode by far of her. Like, I didn't really care for her character until this episode. Pretty much explaining the ideology of what the shield means to people. The shield was made in, 1942 or during World War II. It represents a different time of how like our world was as a society and how we viewed things. Everything back then was pretty much like good or evil. Either like you were in the United States or you were in Nazi Germany. There was definitely two ends of the spectrum. It was very black and white. And now our world has advanced so much as a people and a culture that there's black and white, but there's also lots of shades of gray too. Like, obviously she doesn't fit that mold of a Steve Rogers or even like a John Walker, who's a blonde hair, blue eyed, white American who should be Captain America. He's like to her, I view you as Captain America. And that's why she's like that shield needs to be destroyed because it doesn't represent what we are as a people anymore. So what do you...
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good sum up of it. Yeah.
What did you think, April?
Yeah, I agree. Good summarization. But I don't know. It didn't sit right with me when she said that shield should be destroyed, mainly because, I love Captain America. But she's right. Like, blue-eyed, blonde hair doesn't represent America anymore. It's not who America is. It's not who she is. So she can't relate to it.
But and I feel like, there are still some people that do relate to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what she's not viewing, is there are some people that still have faith in the shield, even if it is John Walker's shield right now. They still have the faith in it. Whether it's his America or if it's still, Steve Rogers' America.
Well,
to
me, it kind of like represents and like what's going on in today's society. Like, people are trying to erase history, even though it may be not the most pleasant, sunny, sunshiny things that happened. It still happened.
Right.
She goes into it a little bit more at the funeral as well. She's like, we are one world. We are one people. So, anybody out there, as long as they aspire to do good and do the right thing, anybody, male, female, black, white, whatever, should be able to don that Captain America role as long as they're, they have the right mind and obviously the heart to do it. Morgan, what did you think of that scene?
So I had a thought, but I'm going to save that thought for later. But I did not see it as that way. I just thought that she hated the new Captain America as much as everyone else.
In which she does. She
does. But also, like, what you're saying what you guys are saying kind of makes sense, even though I didn't see it like that. But I don't understand. So she's not from America. No. So Captain America was made for, no offense, but for Americans. Like, that's why he's Star-Spangled Blue and red with stars on him. Like, that's why, because he was supposed to be from America and for Americans in a harsh time. So, and I know that he's now more of a world figure, but like, honestly, I wouldn't expect someone from another country to have faith in the Shield, to be honest, because Captain America really hasn't done anything except for like Endgame, like anything for other countries. All of his work has always been in America, like focused in America when you really think about it. So I wouldn't expect Carly to understand fully what the Shield represents and what it's really supposed to be. But obviously it's American TV show. They're making it for Americans. So like, I feel like Marvel kind of failed in that aspect just a little bit, because it's kind of, to me at least, it's obvious. It's like, yeah, she's not from our country. Duh. She doesn't know all about Captain America and all about the great things he's done. Like, of course not. But yeah, it kind of was confusing because I was like, I don't really think he's as much of a world figure as people think he would be. Maybe I could be wrong, but like in the MCU, I feel like if I would, like, Wakanda, King T'Challa, I just said that completely wrong.
It's okay, I said it too.
Whatever his name is, you know who I'm talking about. Black Panther. He had no clue who he was when they first met. He was like, "Who the heck are you? I don't know you." And so I feel like if even someone that is as privileged and as much of a public figure as he is doesn't know who Captain America is, why is some random girl who's a refugee or whatever gonna know who he is? Like,
I do see her point.
I do, but I think because she grew up in America. She's been, or no, she didn't grow up in America. I'm sorry, but she's been around the advertisement of Captain America, obviously.
Well, because to address that point, because even the girls of what country are they currently in right now?
I have no idea.
Latvia.
Yeah. They even go up to later in the episode, John Walker and ask for his autograph. So maybe they're just assuming that you're expecting that Captain America is this like worldwide phenomenon pretty much, and that everybody pretty much knows of who he is. But to your point, exactly, let's say in our society, if there was a captain, Afghanistan or whatever the case is, would we necessarily know who that person is? No, but that's I kind of also agree with your point too. So
I feel like Marvel just didn't they needed to explain that a little bit more.
Right.
I don't know. I kind of disagree because I feel like this is all post Endgame. Captain America saved the world. And she's, a big part of her issue is she wants to go back to how it was during the blip. So she obviously knows, I don't know, I feel like everyone would know who they are at this point.
They still need to explain, though, how the United States has this much jurisdiction in other countries without, this Sokovian Accords. Yeah. John Walker's pretty much running around like a madman. You can make the excuse for Sam and Bucky because, Sam at least is an Avenger. Bucky is kind of an Avenger. So they're pretty much operating outside the law right now. But John Walker should be a U.S.-based Captain America. And he's just running all over Europe right now, pretty much inflicting his law wherever he wants. Where's the jurisdiction from these other countries saying, yo, you need to get out of my country now?
I feel like
it was
about
before
America. Anyways.
Well, like, let's say if this was based in like America somewhere and the Flag Smashers were in America doing this on American soil, that would have made a little bit more sense that John would be running all over the place because this is in America. This is on U.S. soil. They're bombing, like let's say a U.S. Embassy or whatever the case is. That would make more sense than him running all over Europe and inflicting American will inside these opposing countries. It's just, that's where it kind of like, but again, sometimes you got to turn your brain off for this stuff.
Yeah.
You got to turn your brain off for this stuff. So, it's just like when I'm watching certain Star Wars stuff and I get like extremely angry at it. And I'm like, all right, you know what? I got to turn my brain off. It's a fantasy space opera. It's not real. It's not real life. So.
Yeah, maybe I was reading too much into it, but like, I don't know, that it just confused me as to like how, like, I understand, yes, they know about Endgame, but do they really know like everything that Captain America has been through as much as maybe an American would? Probably not. And that's where I was like, well, how do you know what the shield represents when you don't, like, you barely know who he is? Like that's kind of what I was confused about. And then I also didn't like how she said that she should, like, the shield needs to be destroyed and all that, because I was like, foreshadowing, something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well, unless we get Wolverine with his adamantium claws in this, which we're probably not going to get, I don't think there's anything that's going to destroy that shield, because technically they're still running with vibranium as the strongest metal on Earth. So.
Well, but Thanos destroyed the shield.
Yeah, I don't think Thanos
originally.
I don't think Thanos is coming back though. I think he's toast unless another. Well, no, we got to get Connor in here. Connor will come in here and explain how Thanos is coming back through like another portal or something.
And
I want to know, like, they never explained that. So first of all, the shield was like in pieces at the end of Endgame. Thanos somehow destroyed that shield. What did he have that destroyed that shield so badly? And third, who fixed it?
Well, I guess because he went back in time and maybe recovered the shield.
Turn your brain off.
What do they call it? They call it a plot hole. These are big plot holes. So because the same thing with Mjolnir. Obviously he went back to Asgard and replaced Mjolnir on Asgard. You would think, right? But I mean, yeah, I don't know. Plot hole. All right. So moving on, we are getting to the scene now where Sam and Bucky and Zemo, and they of course meet up with my new favorite Captain America, John Walker, and they actually find out where Carly is, and instead of going there guns blazing, Sam wants to go and actually try to talk her out of doing what she's doing. In case you didn't know, Sam actually did work at the VA back in Winter Soldier, and that's where actually Steve and Sam met up beside their on your left jogging scene. And he's like, let me go in there and talk to her. She's vulnerable right now. I might be able to get her out of doing the actions that she's doing. So he goes in and they have a philosophical talk about, the difference between right and wrong and everything. And then obviously John is being an impatient person and can't wait the 10 minutes and decides to go in there guns blazing. Obviously everyone gets into a fight. Carly escapes, but they also handcuff Zemo to a power generator thing, some kind of generator. And we all know Zemo's getting out of that. So he gets out of that and intercepts Carly and shoots her, and she drops all of the super soldier serums. They're all sitting there on the floor. And when I'm watching this scene, he picks one up and I'm like, he's about to take it. Because, I'm like, there's no way that he's going to be able to compete with these super beings without taking some of the super soldier serum. And April, what does he decide to do with that super soldier serum?
Smash it.
Okay, so here's my beef with that scene. Okay, so they drop out of her pouch. They don't break. Okay, they don't break. They drop on the ground. They don't break.
There's really thick glass.
Oh, come on. But
then someone can crush it with their shoe.
Come on. And of course, there's one magical one left. Of course, there has to be one left.
Plot armor. So yes, Zemo decides to smash all of the super soldier serums because then I'm like, I was actually kind of disappointed. I really wanted him to take one and drink it, but then it would kind of go against his character traits of saying that all the super soldiers need to die. So if they all need to die, then why would you take it? But yes, magically one is still left. And who's my favorite person?
Well, why is
John
only one
Walker
left?
grabs it, and he obviously
Wait. He just grabs it. That doesn't mean anything.
and puts it in
yet.
his pocket,
Puts it in his pouch.
safekeeping, and hides it from everybody.
And what
kind
did
of
he do
intentions
to
do you think he
Zemo
has?
before he did that?
Oh yeah, he threw the shield at his head.
Yeah.
But I think it's funny though how in the next scene he's just sitting there with a towel over his head, and I expected him to take the towel off and have like a big black and blue or a welt or something right on his head, and he looks just
Perfectly
fine.
fine.
So during this scene, obviously, the Dora Milaje finally shows up because they made good on their promise of 8 hours before they come and take Zemo, and John Walker and Battlestar also show up, and they presume to get into a fight because he is saying that Wakanda doesn't have any jurisdiction there, which I still don't understand how the United States has jurisdiction there. But anyway, we're just rolling with it. We're just, turning our brains off here for this scene. So, Morgan, what did you think of the Dora Milaje fight scene and Zemo's escape and pretty much everything rolled up into that?
Oh, I loved it. I wanted John Walker to cry. I was so excited because Bucky and Sam warned him. They were like, you don't want to mess with her. Like, you don't want to do it. And what does he do? He touches her because that's what jerks do, is they got to touch the girl to try to calm them down. Oh, no. And so what does she do? Oh, she nearly rips him a new one, nearly kills him. And the one girl almost takes the shield, and I wanted her to take that shield.
Yes.
Technically, I thought they were going to take it as well because it is vibranium and it did come from Wakanda. So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, are they going to take the shield away from him? But then you pretty much take the whole thing that's going to be given to a certain person at the end of the season. But, and they drop it to him. But go ahead.
I was going to say, I think my favorite part about that was when Sam was like, should we say something? Should we help him? And Bucky's like, you doing all right there, John? Like, yeah, you got it. Yeah, good job. You're doing
I love
great.
Bucky.
Get him, John.
I think honestly they
A
could have
little
killed
more
John
humor,
and
which was
Bucky
nice
would have been
too.
fine with it.
We got a little dose of that humor, which was nice. Seems like we're getting a little bit of it every episode.
Yeah, they just stopped the running joke of how old Bucky is. I think they stopped it in the last episode. I'm like, oh, we didn't get an old man joke this episode. It was 1 and 2 were like that, and I think they stopped in episode 3. So yes, Zemo escapes. And April, what did you think of that scene? Did you think that Zemo was going to do something how did you take it?
Man, I was so excited to see where Zemo's going. Where's he going? Obviously he doesn't want to get taken by the Wakandans, but what's he doing? Where's he going? Because he wants to kill Carly, but he doesn't stay around where Carly's at.
That we know of.
That's true. He could have, I don't know, hid in the sewer. I don't know.
Well, I was actually wondering if, because they show the hole, but they don't go in, to show it empty. I was wondering if he was just kind of peeking.
Right? But
Yeah, that's what I
like
thought. And he was just gonna
Flash
come out after the Wakandans left and be like, "All right, Sam and
All right, peace
Sam
out.
and Bucky, let's go."
So in the beginning of this, you're talking about a guy taking kids up to candy. Now you're talking about Pennywise. What are you thinking about right now?
What's wrong with me?
Zemo's giving off some vibes.
He's hiding. Is it Pennywise? Is it Pennywise that's in this, and he's disguised as Zemo right now? He goes down to the sewer, giving candy to kids.
I mean,
Man, what is
we're on
he
a roll.
doing?
Zemo's on a roll.
But John, at the very end of this scene, says something that I think is really important. When he's defeated, he says, "And they're not even super soldiers."
Which is why I thought he was gonna toss the serum at that point, because I thought he was gonna realize oh shit, I don't need. Sorry, I said that word.
I hope we don't get restricted for this. So yeah, okay, just continue. We'll edit it out.
But I thought he was going to toss it at that point because he was like, oh, clearly I just need to be stronger and faster and actually work harder, and maybe I'll kick people's butts the way that they do. Oh no.
I think it motivated him to want to take it even more. To realize,
I
wow,
agree.
I kind of suck.
Well, you're gonna suck even more.
I'm honestly shocked though that he's lasted this long without actually seriously like getting extremely hurt. I know they even go into it again where Lamar's telling him, dude, you have 3 medals of honor. And like they're really bringing that home. And I'm just like, but the people could say the same thing with Sam, but Sam's been doing this for a long time, and Sam has the tech. Sam has obviously bodysuit arm. He could have. Yeah. Sam's been doing it for.
Sam says right away when he is asked, "Would you take it?" He says no, like without a question. He says no. And I think that's the big difference, because I think if you're willing to take it, that it's just gonna lead you down a dark path that you don't want to go down.
Yeah.
Well, I'll piggyback to people. Oh, go ahead, April.
Oh, I was just gonna say, power does things to people. Like I think John says it. Power does things to people. You get the Carlys and you get the Steves. Where do you fall in line on that? And I think John thinks he's gonna be more like Steve, but I think he's gonna be more like Red Skull.
I'm gonna piggyback on top of that. When they're standing there and they're having, it looks like tea, but I'm not sure what it is. Him and his Battlestar friend.
Oh, we're in the cafe.
In the cafe, there we go. So it was tea or whatever it was.
Coffee.
And they're sitting there, and he asked Battlestar.
It was a new Starbucks drink, and they called it John Walker.
No. So they're sitting there, and he asked his friend. He said, "Well, would you take it?" And the guy didn't hesitate, and he said, "Yes."
Hell yes.
So I think that also motivated him to take it.
They're also harping back, or they're remembering a time wherever they served in the war, where we're like, remember this, this time where, if we had that super soldier serum with us, we would have been able to save a lot more people, or save everybody that day. I think also it's the arrogance too as well. So during that scene, there's a girl that comes up to John, is like, "Oh, can I get your autograph?" And he's like, "This is getting really annoying, like really fast." So there is. So when you do take that serum, it seems like that you either go right to the dark side, or you go crazy, or you'll have like a Steve Rogers. And right now, even though she's not a Steve Rogers, I would put Carly more on that light side than I would the dark, because even though she's doing things, she's not going about it the right way. She does have good intentions, whereas John thinks he has good intentions, and they're not very good. And as we'll come to find out later in the episode, which the big,
Hurrah.
Yeah, hurrah.
I think if you have to convince yourself that you're good by saying that you've gotten these medals and things like that, you're really not good. Like if you don't truly know in your heart that you're doing what is best, then, and you need someone to like back you up on it, or like you need a reason for it, it's not.
Yeah, I agree. 100% agree.
All right, so we're getting towards the end of the episode here. So, we have Carly who calls up Sarah. I don't know how she got her number. I don't know how, if she got it maybe in like a group chat, or if she just like Googled it, or looked it up on AOL or something.
Really? Yellow Pages.
Yellow Pages. Yeah, she just looked up her number in the Yellow Pages. She's able to get Sarah, turning off her brain here. She's able to get Sarah's number somehow. She calls up Sarah and pretty much threatens her. She threatens her kids, and she needs to meet up with Sam again to try to maybe convince Sam to get on her side. Obviously, it doesn't. And then Sharon pops in with her satellite, her giant, enormous satellite, and is able to track John Walker to a location where I guess they find the Flag Smashers hitting base. And go ahead.
I was going to say, when she ends the phone call with Sarah, she looks upset.
Distraught.
She looks upset that she had to make that call. Like she had to go that far to get a hold of Sam. She does not look happy that she made it. Now, that could be me reading it wrong, but she definitely looks distraught that she had to do that. Go ahead, Morgan.
Sorry, I just had this epiphany. How do you guys think Sharon is power broker.
Wait!
That's why I didn't talk about
that until now.
That's why I didn't talk
putting it in
about
my
Sharon
head.
Carter stuff. That's why I'm you know what, because I have it in my notes too. I'm like, you know what? Let's talk about Sharon Carter stuff when we theorize, because
I
There's
have
a
a
lot of-
feeling she is.
there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff in this episode, because before Brittany and I started watching it, I said, there's something going on with Sharon. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm
Definitely
like,
something going on.
you don't think she's power broker, do you? And she's like, what makes you think that? And I was watching this episode this morning, and it really, like, when she's
The puzzles started to connect.
when she's walking past the guards and everything, and they're not doing anything to her, I'm like,
they're a blind eye to her, and there's like tunnel vision. Like she's just walking through like it's no big deal.
Right. And then she has an extremely like big tech base and everything, and she's got that big fancy computer, and I'll just check on one of my satellites. Well, how many satellites do you have? Like, it's something's not really adding.
But it wasn't just that.
Upright.
In the last episode, at the very end, she's like, we have a problem.
Oh,
to
yeah.
her driver.
Yeah, to the driver, and she's like, we got a big problem. So, but I was trying to save that for theories, but it's
We
okay.
can still talk about
We'll
it,
still
I
talk
mean.
about it. But oh yes, so we get to the hidden Flag Smashers hideout. They're able to capture Lamar. You get this really good close-up of John, and he's like starting to like twitch, and he's starting to like hear stuff, like his senses are changing. And I turn to Britt, and she's like, oh no. And I'm like, so we can all safely assume that he took the super soldier serum. And I don't know if it's just something that you need to drink or you need to like inject yourself with, but obviously Red Skull had his injected. Steve has his injected. So I don't know if this is just something that you need to just drink or whatever, but we can safely assume that he took it, because his senses and everything are starting to change, because he can hear the water dripping and everything. Obviously, there's a big fight that breaks out. The Flag Smashers are going after John Walker. They capture Lamar. They tie him up, but he's able to break free of that. Obviously, Sam and Bucky show up, and Bucky's taking care of one of the Flag Smasher guards, and then Sam and John are fighting next to each other, and I'm just very like thinking, oh man, it's kind of like the old days when Steve and Sam were fighting next to each other. I did like the callback line though of John saying, why is everyone using knives? So in Captain America First Avenger, Howard Stark, when he's going through the weapons and different things that Steve should pick out, he's like, well, it's not like Hydra's going to be attacking you with knives. So I think it's funny how all the Flag Smasher group was all using knives to attack them. One thing leads to another, and Lamar is able to break free of his shackles and runs in to try to save John. And Carly comes in, punches Lamar in the chest, and sends him flying into like a brick stone pillar. Obviously, I'm assuming breaks his back or just does something to him, breaks his neck, and that's it. Lamar.
That was the worst death I've ever seen in Marvel history. Just saying. Like the most over dramatic death ever. Because first you see him and he's like clearly he's dead. Clearly. And then they pan away and then they go back to him for one quick second and he goes from here and he goes.
His head drops like
I thought he was gonna like,
oh my God.
So I'm like, all right, so we need something we already know that John is crazy or going crazy. We need something to send him over the deep end. And that's kind of what his whole death was, just let's send John over the deep end now. Like, let's make him snap. I honestly thought when they panned back to him, I thought he was going to wake up, and I'm like, wait, John, you don't have to do anything. He's still alive. He was able to survive that somehow. But April, what did you think of that whole scene?
Oh man, when that happened, I was like, oh, he's dead. And then, the whole, he's dead. And I thought to myself, I was like, I don't think anyone's ever checked a Marvel superhero's breath to see if they're still alive. But of course, John Walker's like, oh my God. I don't know why that stood out to me that he had to go and check. Obviously, he's dead. Like,
yeah. You know what I found it very paralleling to, though? In Captain America First Avenger, Cap doesn't really become like a true Cap. I feel like he doesn't come into his like superhero role until he loses what he thinks is him losing Bucky in the train scene. So I kind of, as soon as I saw that this new Cap had a best friend, I was like, oh, he's going to die. Like, I just knew it. I knew it the first time I saw him. I was like,
That's interesting.
He's going to die, and it's going to push him over the edge, and it's going to show what a true hero is going to be what he does. And you see his true colors.
So do we think Lamar then's going to come back as the new Winter Soldier with the new metal arm?
No, hope not.
No. Although I think
Battlestar.
I think John is somehow going to bring him back. I don't know how, but I just have a feeling that John is going to figure out a way to bring him back.
I hope
What do you
not.
think? What did you think of the whole scene?
Because I like Battlestar better than John.
I think we all do. Battlestar actually gave Sam a chance. He's like, John, man, cool. Let him go in and do his thing. He's like he's starting to. He was like, all right, man, let's.
He's the conscience.
Yes, of John, and now John's conscience is gone. That's pretty much what his purpose he served was as John's conscience.
And I want to know, you mentioned it earlier, but I want to know more about that backstory that John keeps referring to of how he got those 3 stars. Like, what did he do? Like, he talks about losing people, like, oh, he's lost people and blah, and Sam could never know how that feels. And I'm like, Sam lost a lot of people, man. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like John's been in the dark, like more in the dark than Carly was about all of Captain America.
He made a comment of it being like the worst day of his life, and like they had to make decisions that weren't good decisions. So I wonder if some of the lives that were lost were his fault.
Yeah.
Guilty conscience.
Yeah.
So before we get into this, the end scene, so can we talk about that superhero landing?
Tough on the knees.
As soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh, he's doing it, superhero landing. Oh, that's gonna be so hard on your knees.
You know what? Sorry, I keep interrupting. But that that the battle scene, going back to the battle scene, I was laughing hysterically during the whole thing, even though I don't think I was meant to. But what the flag smashers kept saying every time they went up against John or Bucky or Sam, and especially John, once they found out, they realized he took the serum and he had powers. It was the most hysterical thing to me, and I don't know.
Oh no, wasn't it? Was it oh no? I think that's what they said. Oh no.
Well, one said oh no, and then another said but yeah.
Well, yeah, after John Walker's excellent superhero landing, I was just waiting for Deadpool to come out and be like, all right, here we go, guys, superhero. Like, that would have been great. Or, like, if Ryan Reynolds would have made a little teaser and be like, all right, he's doing superhero landing. All right, see you guys later. Like, that would
Right, if Ryan Reynolds was just standing there with a camera, like, ooh.
Look at this guy doing superhero landing.
That'd be funny.
Yeah, but no, we're breaking the fourth wall there. That's not going to happen for a long time. So, we are to the end scene, pretty much the big cliffhanger of this episode. John catches up with, let's say, we'll call her Carly's boyfriend. I don't think it is, but you know, it's funny too. Close friend. It's funny too because you're like, how come he's not wearing a mask?
He never once put a flag smasher mask on his face. His face was always visible.
And I think it made it a little bit more powerful because maybe if he had the flag smasher mask on and John does what he does,
you wouldn't see who it was.
Right. He actually looked into this guy's eyes as he was. So John takes his shield and he smashes it over one of the flag smashers' heads. And pretty much, I'm actually shocked that they, even though they didn't really show it, because they did zoom in on the guy's face after John hit him the one time. And, you know, you don't see any blood or anything. Like, you get some on his hands. I'm surprised that Marvel and Disney went that far with that, like, scene. I'm like,
well, sorry, I think you're missing. He didn't smash his face. He decapitated him.
I was gonna say yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I mean,
no, I thought he just smashed his, like.
Pretty sure he.
I'm pretty sure he's a headless horseman now.
Because where all the blood is, it's on the rim.
Right. Like right on the rim of.
Oh no! I thought he was just bashing his face in with the shield.
Well, and his fingers are like dented too. Like he was going like
right.
This. So he was going straight down.
Okay, well, maybe he's got his face bashed in or got his head chopped off. But again, I'm shocked that Disney went that far on one of their superhero shows. centered toward pretty much what, kids?
Yeah.
You think? I mean,
well,
it is
not
PG.
kids,
Rated,
but
it's rated TV 14.
It is TV 14, but most Marvel films, you'd be like, oh yeah, we'll take Connor into that. Like we don't have anything to worry about, right? That scene was a little
much.
It was intense.
But we'll get into ratings.
I watched that at school today.
What's that?
I watched that at school today.
Oh,
Jeez.
hey kids, you guys want to see Captain America?
No, not with my kids. Not with my kids. On my own. But I was in a classroom with children in it.
Were you able to give them any Turkish delights?
Oh, stop it.
Ew, that sounds really gross. Don't say that.
No.
She works with children.
I give them a Lysol wipe. That's my gift to them.
Hand sanitizer. There you go.
So yes, John Walker decapitates. We'll go with that for right now. Decapitates one of the Flag Smashers, and everybody is around him. Carly sees it. Sam and Bucky see it. I think Bucky's even shocked that he went that far.
The whole world.
Everyone's
exactly,
filming
Morgan.
it. And obviously the whole world is watching. Hence the title of this episode. Before we really dive into it, I don't like to get real world with this, with my shows and everything. But I really think definitely comparing like this to we'll say WandaVision for right now. There's a lot of themes and philosophies that happen in our society that they're really touching on in this show. And honestly, the police brutality, because that's exactly how I interpret it as. And especially what happened last year, that was like unfolded pretty much in this show. And I don't want to get too much into it, but that's how I interpreted that scene. So April, what did you think?
Well, I 100% agree with you. It's I think this show is on purposely making points towards the real world with a lot of the racism stuff and some of the other episodes towards Sam. And then that is definitely going towards police brutality. A man in power taking advantage of his power. Because he could have just easily was smacked him once and handcuffed him. Because he obviously had handcuffs because he handcuffed Zemo.
Right.
Instead, he chose to do what he did.
And
he went after the wrong person.
Right.
Right, he did. I didn't even realize that. Yeah,
because he says it wasn't me right before he keeps saying it wasn't me, it wasn't me, it wasn't me, and he didn't care.
He did not care.
He was one of them. It was the whole again race. Flag Smashers not being a race, but paralleling it to the real world, a race doesn't matter. If this person didn't do it, if you guys look the same, you're gonna go after one of them and blame it on both of you.
And it's going to hurt no matter what.
It's going to hurt. Yeah.
Ooh, that was heavy.
Yes.
It was heavy. It was a very heavy.
And you know what else I find interesting?
Go
when
ahead,
they're when Carly and her whoever
Friend.
is at the decapitated man now is at the cemetery, he says that Captain America was one of his idols growing up. And he loved that shield, and he is now killed by that very same shield.
By that ideal, yeah. Good point. Really good point. Yeah.
Ooh, I got shivers.
I know. That's what I thought of earlier. And I was like, I'll save the thought for later.
But yeah, that's what, even like I said, because I even told her, I'm like, even though it wasn't slow, but there was a lot of character buildup, and then it's like they hit you with the action in the last 10 minutes. Whereas other episodes, you got an action scene and then a lot of character development. This one, they really are touching on a lot of philosophical ideas about how different things are in our society, and then they it's oh yeah, we're going along, it's very nice, obviously some people are fighting and that brick wall, oh my god, you're not expecting that. I wasn't expecting
Bucky.
that.
Poor Bucky.
He texted me this morning while I was working, and he's like your face at the end of this episode, and it was the
from Friends.
Yeah, and he was like,
and he's his jaw's dropping, and
I'm like, was it that good? He was, I'm not giving it away.
I wouldn't even give her a hint, because just giving a hint would have kind of planted a seed in her mind. I wanted her to be totally shocked by it, and I turned over to her, and she's like, and Connor was watching it with us too, and I was waiting for her to say, did you really want Connor to see that?
I think he was okay by it though, because it went not in the ear and out the other, but it kind of just went whip, and that was that.
Right. But
Thankfully.
Just that lasting image though of John standing up with the shield, how this pretty much this symbol It's supposed to be a symbol, I guess, for like truth and justice and peace and
Hope.
hope. And now it's covered in blood.
Oh man,
Someone else's blood
Yeah.
that he killed.
Yeah. Because Steve, even though, yes, he did attack people with the shield, and probably Steve could have killed a lot of people if he wanted to with that shield, he never once did it. You know, probably, maybe knocked them out and they got a concussion.
Hurt him a little bit.
Yeah. But we never actually saw him kill anybody with it. And just to see John kill somebody with the shield and have it covered in blood. Yes,
when it was about to happen, I was like, no, he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it.
I was like, oh, no, he's going to hit him. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I was like, no, he's just going to hit him. Like, it'll be fine. And then like when he moved his hands on it, I was like, no way. No way.
Yeah. Put all that force in, bye-bye.
That's, like I said, that's going to leave
all that new super soldier force.
And I wonder now what Sam and Bucky think of that, because they weren't there right before he did it. Like, I feel like that's going to be a big criticism that they didn't stop him, but they showed up after it had already been done.
Right.
Like, there was nothing they could do to stop him.
Right. And that's a lot of things, a lot too, with these police brutality videos. It always seems like you never see what happens or what transpires before.
Well, but it also makes a good parallel to the George Floyd thing where those other officers were just standing there.
Correct. Yeah. But you never see what happens before the incident takes place. You only see like the heat of the moment or like the power, I guess, effect of the moment. But you never see what gets those people to that place, which a lot of people only film the scene of John decapitating the flag smasher. Why was John doing that?
Not that it makes it okay that he did it, but
no,
I
of course not.
agree. You don't see the whole lead up, the 10-mile pursuit or whatever.
All right, so theory time. First theory, since we're, coming off the trails of it, do we think John's going to get in trouble for this?
No, agreed. He's going to get bad, John. Don't do that.
Don't do that again.
What do you think, Morgan?
Okay, so from the U.S. government, I think they are not gonna because this guy was technically labeled as a terrorist. He's not. He might be awarded for it, maybe, possibly. They're not gonna care, basically. But I think he's gonna get into a lot of heat with Sam and Bucky, and they are not gonna trust him at all anymore. They're not gonna work with him. No.
They already didn't trust him to begin with. There was no trust there.
Or like when Bucky says, what does he say? There's something up with that John guy, and then Sam turns and goes, "Oh, you're just now thinking that?" Think?
But yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. I think with Sam and Bucky, he will.
Where do you think Zemo is, and where do you think he's going?
I honestly have no idea. I want to know, but I have no idea where he's going.
Has anybody noticed how many hiding spots he has?
Oh my God.
I have a spot for us. I have a place for us to go. Like, who has that many hiding spots?
Of all these cars? What?
I actually think, I just thought of this. I think he's going to go back to that place. That, I have no idea what it was called. From the last episode.
Matterport?
Yeah. I think he's going to go back.
Welcome there, though.
He was.
Yeah, before they started. I was going to say, they killed the black hair chick.
Before they started killing everybody.
Yeah.
He's the Bruce Wayne of this universe.
Yes.
And last theory, the one that we kind of talked about in the middle of our live stream. Sharon Carter. Oh, Sharon Carter. So, I was thinking for a long time that Zemo is the power broker, and he technically still kind of could be, because he's been out of captivity for a while. But last week when we were watching the episode when we were saying how much of Sharon is a BA with her training and everything, obviously when she's talking to her driver that we have a huge issue. And then this episode, walking past the armed guards, and they're not even doing anything to her, they're not even noticing that she's there. She has obviously her, I guess, woman cave or lair, hideout.
Her mansion, wherever.
With all the tech, her satellites.
I wouldn't
So-
want to go back to the U.S. either. Like, dang.
Exactly. Why would you want to go back?
Maybe she can't go
Sam's
back.
like, come back with us. Like, really, Sam? You're poor. Why would I want to, like, come on, man.
Is it safe to say, or maybe assume that at least if she isn't, that she's working for the power broker, or can we say,
Yeah.
is it safe to say that she is the power broker?
I think she dibble dabbles a little bit.
You
A
know,
little bit of that, yeah.
No, she's
I
like-
don't know if
Something's
she is,
going on.
but she's definitely very closely connected too.
Yes.
Yeah, I think she definitely is in high places.
There we go. That's a good statue to have.
Yeah. She's up there in the ring of power broking.
Yeah.
But my thing is the power broker, they said the power broker was trying to recreate the serum. I don't see Shannon doing that. That's my only issue, is that I don't see her trying to recreate the serum because she knows Cap and she knows it wouldn't turn out well.
So how did she know where the scientist was?
because the scientist disappeared after the blip, or
Right.
disappeared during the blip. And when he came back from the blip, the super soldier program was put on ice. He
Right.
explains it. So he goes to Madapur because he's in league, I guess, or goes there because he knows he can continue his research. And that's where he links up with the power broker, and whoever it is funds.
But what
his-
I'm saying is she lets Bucky and Sam know where he is. She finds him,
Correct.
or she already
I
knew
think
where he
she's just in
was.
high places. I think she's just
Or
in high places.
he
Like
was
she knows
being-
people.
I was or he's making the serum because she told him to make the serum.
Yeah. That.
But to Morgan's point, though, why would she go against Steve and everything that, like, Steve represented of making the serum and everything? Or she got really hurt by what Steve did because Steve went back in time for her aunt and didn't really have any connection or anything towards her. And maybe she's just hung up on Steve.
Well, that was icky. that was icky anyway. I don't like
I
that.
agree, it was very icky. I didn't like it.
Maybe she's trying to create another Steve. She wants another super soldier in her life.
Well,
I
she
don't think
could be
so.
Planning, Like,
oh, she could.
she's
she
seen
could
all
really
this
dabby
stuff
with
with all these
Bucky.
aliens. She could be
Yes, I want her as Bucky.
Well, I thought from the trailer that they were going to set up some kind of romance between them. I don't think it's going to happen now, but
No.
I mean, we only got 2 episodes left, but
Who knows? Second season, man. Second season.
No, I like the girl from the bar for Bucky too. In the very, very first episode. Anyways, we're getting a little far off track here, guys.
Bucky's a
yeah,
strong, independent man. He don't need no woman.
I don't think he's going to ever no, not that. I don't think he's ever going to resolve that issue with that guy. So I'm a little disappointed with that they teased that in the first episode, and I don't think we're ever going to dabble back down to that. You know, he's never going to resolve that or like go back to his book or anything. You know, I wish the season was a little longer if they gave him 8 or 10 episodes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Okay, so we're getting into our ranking time. We forgot to do this last week. So I don't know if we can go back and recap last week's episode. So we're just going to do it we'll do it for moving forward for episode 4 and on. And maybe at the very end when we do our grand finale episode, we'll recap the whole season. But on a scale of 1 to 10, because right now technically it is in his possession and he's starting to decapitate people with it. On a scale of 1 to 10, John Walker Shields. Morgan, what would you rate the 4th episode?
I would give it a N10.
April.
Yes, same. 10 awful bloody shields.
I agree. I said 10 bloody shields as well.
I gave it a 9 at first, but when I went back and watched it again with Britt and just in her reaction of it, and just it's still that image, like I keep saying, will haunt me for the rest of my life, I think, of that bloody shield. Yeah, easily a 10 out of 10, easily my favorite episode so far. I hope they're able to top with either episodes 5 or 6, top this one, but they're going to have to really...
They're going to have to dig deep.
Yeah, they're going to have to dig deep because...
They're going to have to kill John Walker. Let's be real.
He needs to die. It's fine.
Yeah,
I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon.
Yeah,
girls.
no, I especially because now you have a lot of villains here. I mean, you don't. Well, we don't know what's going on with Sharon, right? She could be.
She's not a villain. Don't you put her in that category?
Woo! You just got yelled at.
We don't know what's going on with Sharon. Maybe she's an anti-hero. I don't know. She's playing both sides. Anti-hero. Okay, we'll say anti-hero. Carly is definitely an anti-hero, but more of a villain. It depending on
innocent people and didn't care about it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We have John Walker now a villain, and we have Zemo. I mean, he hasn't really done it.
Zemo's really a villain, though.
Exactly. We don't. Well,
Zemo's a buddy.
We're going off of what Zemo has done in Civil War. He technically hasn't done really anything bad yet. Well, I mean, he did kill some of Power Broker's henchmen when he was fighting them in the
He killed the scientist.
He
shot the
did
scientist.
try to kill Carly.
Tried to kill Carly. Yes. So we have a lot of villains.
For him.
Yeah, we have a lot of villains here. I don't think they're all making it out. They're just not.
No.
If I were to say, though, spoilers, if I'm right, they'd probably kill Zemo before they kill John Walker.
I would agree.
Because you will imprison John Walker and he will become his actual U.S. agent persona, like if there ever is a season 2. And he would pretty much be the big bad of season 2. He would become his comic book counterpart. But yeah, I don't see Zemo, unfortunately, living past this season. I wish. I mean, they were technically going to kill him in Civil War, and they luckily didn't. Black Panther prevent him, obviously from shooting himself. But yeah, I think there's a lot of villains now, and they need to start killing some people off. So,
right. I think
Morgan.
Carly's gonna die.
Yeah,
throwing it out there.
Besides Carly dying, Morgan, any other predictions for the final 2 episodes?
Carly's gonna die. I think I'm coming around to the idea of Sam having the shield. I don't like it, but I think it's gonna happen. I don't think Zemo's gonna die. I think he's gonna survive, and he's gonna somehow team up with Sharon. I think that's what's gonna happen. And what else do I think? I think Bucky will still be in agony.
Poor Bucky.
And that's all I got.
April, what do you think?
And John Walker, I really wanted to die, but I don't think he's going to die.
April, what do you think? Any theories for the last 2 episodes?
I agree. As much as I want John Walker to die, I don't think he's going to. I kind of hope that Bucky ends up with the shield instead of Sam.
Yes! I want it, but I don't think so.
That's what I'm hoping. I don't know. And I think, honestly, Zemo's going to get taken back to Wakanda. Since they want him so bad, I think they're going to just take him.
So here's a crazy theory. It just came to my mind. Zemo wants to end super soldiers that bad. He wants to end them all.
Yes.
No.
Anyway,
Don't say it.
does Bucky make it out of this season alive?
Yes.
Shut your mouth.
Alive.
You shut your mouth.
I'm just making a theory. It's just a theory, but because
don't put it out there.
You'll always have that conflict of who should have the shield, Sam or Bucky. Sam or Bucky. Now, if they eliminate Bucky, there's one clear winner of who's going to get the shield.
But I don't think Bucky wants the shield because he knows that Cap gave it to Sam, and he respects that.
He's worthy.
And Bucky is not worthy currently.
I wouldn't say that Bucky wants it or is worthy of it, but as far as like the way we perceive it, you'll always have that. There will always be like that inner rivalry of who should really don the shield. Should it be Sam or should it be Bucky? Even though he doesn't want.
It kind of reminds me of like Black Widow having to erase her red. It's the same with Bucky, because he did all that bad stuff as Winter Soldier. He still got all that red in his book.
Right. So, I don't know. Theorizing maybe Bucky doesn't make it out of the season.
I don't like that.
I don't like that. You put soap in your mouth.
And one last thing before we end. Is John Walker worthy enough to lift Mjolnir?
No. He's not worthy enough to lift a penny.
to Penny.
He shouldn't be worthy enough of that shield.
He's gonna be worthy enough in jail.
I'm
Wakanda
just gonna
jail.
say something bad.
No,
so
not Wakanda jail. Jail.
All right. Well, we hope you guys had fun with us tonight. We're going to leave the links for April's channel and Morgan's channel in the description below. If you guys haven't already, please go follow them. Check out their channels. They both have excellent content. And we will see you guys live next week. So good night, everybody.
Good night.
Right. Bye.